Okay, next up on the bench is a model that has been years in coming and has basically been waiting for me since, basically begging for me to build it since it was debuted on Games Workshop's website. And that's the new Eldari Avatar of Khaine. This one is in plastic and has a lot of said plastic. It's also got some options as far as building it goes, namely a choice of heads and weapons. I'm going to go with the traditional depiction with the sword and the classic head. Now, for those of you who may be wondering, you can't, the way the heads are done, you cannot swap them out because each head has a separate neck piece that goes into the body. Same goes for the weapon arms. The arm itself is one piece, the axe, the spear, and the sword, but the back piece with these trailing bits on it, there's only one of those. So you're pretty much locked into whichever version you decide to build. Where this one's going to get interesting will be painting. But first off, I need to get her built. Okay, I've gone ahead and glued the main base piece to the base. And what we've got here is the first 3 or 4 sub steps. There's still another piece to go on the front of his leg. And there we have the trademark Khaine blood dripping hand. That piece, that section of his arm is actually 4 pieces. Piece of advice to anybody building this kit: be patient and take your time. Alright, as you can see, main assembly is actually finished. Got the classic head and the sword arm. I haven't put that piece on yet because with it in the middle of the chest, it'll make painting the chest a little more difficult. Another thing that's going to be an interesting challenge for this is all of the flames. Now, word of caution to those of you who might be looking at building this one. The belting that has all of the Aspect Warrior insignia on it is about 6 pieces. So be prepared for fiddly. Got our blood coming down the hand. At this point, I'll put some texture paste on the base. And then we're going to be getting this guy into some paint. Okay, the avatar is now under a coat of white primer. Went with white because I plan on using a number of contrast and speed paints on this miniature, and those work better under the lighter undercoat. The detail is just popping here. The chest piece is still not on, but that's so I can get at the chest underneath it without having to worry too much. Alright, I will apologize for not going step by step with the painting of the avatar. It was one of those cases where I got started and things just started flowing, so I didn't mess with it. But, that said, the latest edition of the Avatar of Khaine has been fully painted and is ready to lead the forces of the Altithae craft world into battle. Alright, went with kind of a traditional scheme. I started with a coating, and you can still see it in some of the spots, of the Yandin Yellow contrast paint from Games Workshop. The body parts were dry brushed in steel and then lead belcher, followed by another dry brush of brass after that. The red parts of his armor were started with a coat of brass and then coat of Army Painter's blood red speed paint, followed by a dry brush of brass. Same with his, in the case of the hair on his tassel, that was just the blood red speed paint with a dry brush of brass over it. After that, I went in and picked out his eyes and mouth in straight yellow. The gems were all done in brass, along with the rest of the metal parts on his body, as well as the hilt of his sword. Actually, the hilt of his sword was not done in brass. It was originally done in Yandin yellow and then orange speed paint, and then dry brushed in brass. The gems were all given the, I believe it's mythic blue or magic blue or something to that effect, from the Army Painter speed paints. The sword is a blending of Yandin yellow and fire orange, I think they called it, from the Army Painter speed paint line. The base was just done in with Greystone Gray. The flames started out with a little bit of white at the base, slowly getting darker from a Yandin yellow through the oranges up into blood red the blood red speed paint. The loincloth was done with Abaddon black, and then given one of my Althae Craft World transfers. And as you can see, standing next to one of the, if I can get her to stand, standing next to one of the Howling Banshees from my earlier build, this guy is quite large and definitely ready to lead them into battle. I'll stop babbling now and put some stills at the end of this. Thank you all for watching.